Welcome back to some more Druid Karn action. Hope you guys are a big fan of Devoted Druid and Karn the Great Creator. Because that's what this hand is. I will absolutely keep this hand. It's got a turn 1 play, a turn 2 play, and a turn 3 win. Let's keep this. So if we're playing against a deck we have to race, we get to race pretty effectively. Turn 1 Arbor Elf. Unfortunately, I really want to grab like the Temple Garden here so I can Eldamri's Call, but I think I need to grab a Forest just in case I get Blood Mooned here. Because if I get Blood Mooned, I can still cast Oath of Nissa and play Teferi and Karn. Well, I could play Karn anyway under Moon, but... Oh, sure. That doesn't super matter for me. What can I do here? Shock in the Breeding Pool. Play Sprawl. Name white. Now I have 4 mana. So I can play Devoted Druid and hold up Eldamri's Call. Yeah, that seems like a fine line for me. It's fine. Okay, opponent's got a Blood Braid. As long as Blood Braid doesn't hit a bolt. That really stinks. That was like the one thing I needed to dodge was a removal spell here. Yeah, not much I can do about that. Opponent's going to swing for 6, put me at 11. So up against red-green monsters here, which I think is a fine matchup. Opponent just got a really lucky Cascade there. Any non-removal spell, and we just won the game. Alright, what do I want here? I can get Euro, right? If I need to gain some life. I can just grab another Druid, play Druid, and then I assume my opponent doesn't have any removal in their hand, otherwise I wouldn't have tapped out for Bloodbraid Elf. So I can grab a Druid, and then on my turn go Oath of Nissa Druid, pass. If they don't kill Druid, then I just follow it up with maybe winning, because I don't have the answer here. Alright, if I cast Druid, my opponent then will untap, swing for, let's say just 7, 6, 7. I go to 5. If they end up having a giant monster, like a dragon, I'm just dead. If I Euro, I go up to 14. I don't think Euro's the answer. I think it's got to be a Druid here. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 available mana, which means I could Teferi and Druid. Teferi can bounce Tracker. That could buy me a little bit of time. I'm actually pretty happy with that line. I could also Teferi bounce Bloodbraid Elf, and the Cascade gets kind of messed up there. But I think I just want to bounce the Tracker here. It's a little bit more mana efficient. And I have a pretty good chance of trying to close this game out here. Unfortunately, I only run 1 Vizier in this particular version of the deck, so it's not like I can reliably get Vizier without a tutor, which does make this a little bit awkward, because I do have a ton of digs here. Yep, there's my opponent. They don't have a bolt or a removal spell here. So this is them digging to try to find that answer. Okay, and killing Teferi is fine. I have plenty of replacements for him. Looks like they're going to be replaying Tracker here. Nope. Okay. Replaying a creature a little bit bigger. Stinks. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 available mana. I can play Karn and Devoted Druid. I think I want to play another Teferi, though. I think Teferi is just a slightly better answer at this point. Can bounce to Bloodbraid Elf. Okay, just progressing my mana. I just cantripped a ton right there. And the Bloodbraid Elf in my opponent's hand doesn't do anything other than be a 3/2 haste as long as that Teferi's in play. So I put my opponent in an awkward spot where if they Cascade right here, they just get a 3/2. Looks like that's what they're doing. So they either... Oh no, they got a dragon. Alright. That puts me in a rough spot. I don't think they should exert here because I have 2 druids. Yeah, I feel like that's a mistake. I also think at this point, if that's what their plan is, they should just attack me. I think they shouldn't have exerted and just put me down to 3. And then... I don't like that line from my opponent. Because now they have an exerted Glorybringer. They untap. I'll be at 7. And I'm not dead. So... let's put blue on that. And play a Euro. And then probably replay Euro at this point. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do not run Eternal Witness, so that doesn't super matter, but I do run Finale, so I'd rather keep creatures in my bin if possible. Although, if my opponent's running Scavenging Ooze, I'd rather get rid of them, so it's a little bit of pressure there based on what I should do. Alright, so I have 4 mana, so I can play a Karn, and my opponent can't do a ton to it because they just have this 4/3 because that's exerted. Opponent does have 6 cards in hand. I might want to worry about that, but I can only worry so much here. Just get as set up as I can against like a potential Blood Moon. Alright, if they have another Glorybringer, how do I win this? I assume they don't have Artifact Hate main, so I think if I just grab a bridge, I think I just can win this game pretty easy off that. And I'll pass turn. This way, even if they kill my Karn, I'm okay. The Glorybringer can't do anything anyway. If they kill this Devoted Druid, I have time to find another Karn to Ballista them to death with the bridge up. I just am in kind of an okay spot overall. So the Bone Crusher Giant's small compared to my Euro. I'm definitely going to block. If it eats a bolt, it eats a bolt. That bolt would either hit Druid or Karn. So if the bolt hits Euro, I'm kind of okay with that because I can just recast Euro next turn anyways. Klothys definitely is one of the cards I did not want to see. Klothys can actually beat my bridge. So Klothys cannot hit Karn. That's good news. I think I'm going to lead off with attacking with Euro and see what I draw. It's fine. Blue. Okay. And let's play bridge. Now I could exile graveyards. I could just start exiling graveyards, although I can never exile my own, which is kind of painful. So my opponent can't get as much value off Klothys. And now what I want to grab here. I think it's probably just a Ballista, so then I can just start killing my opponent. I do have a ton of mana, so I'll have... Yeah, I think Ballista is probably the right grab. I could grab Liquid Metal Coating and try shutting my opponent out of the game, but that Klothys makes me feel like I need to get a little bit of value here. Plus, I don't want to make Karn get into a point where they can just bolt Karn and they can just buy themselves a ton of time. So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can put a 3/3 in play. I think I'll wait one turn to cast a Ballista. This does let my opponent attack with their Arbor Elves, but I think I'm fine with that. I want to protect this Ballista is how I win, so... My opponent needs either a Stomp or a Bolt to deal with this Karn. Otherwise, in 3 turns, this Karn will... Oh, there's a Stomp. I wish Ashiok could exile my own graveyard at this particular moment. Here's a Bloodbraid Elf. Yep. Opponent still has a Tireless Tracker in their hand, which might end up being relevant at some point. Three, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think I'll just do 10, and then I'll also play the Druid here. Now, unfortunately, that Klothys is going to be doing a free Lightning Helix every turn for the next couple turns here. Good draw for me would be another Euro just so I can exile my graveyard. So earlier in the match when I did not exile my Devoted Druids, I regret that. I was thinking of some weird fringe finale situation. No, against a Klothys deck, I should absolutely be exiling all non-lands. Because I do not run Eternal Witness in this list. so. Opponent just tried fetching, yeah. Main board Ashiok. Ashiok definitely does some work here. I mean, that is very insignificant, and at this point, if that Ashiok was a finale or a Vizier, this game would be over. But even in a matchup where it's not particularly good, still did some work there. I cannot, of note, mill my opponent out because I've drawn 8 more cards than they have. I also need to play a little bit faster here. I'm using a ton of clock, but I think I'm pretty locked to winning this game 1. Yeah, it's fine. And now I'm definitely winning game 1. I guess I could mill my opponent with the Ashiok. That is also a route to victory. Alright, so what does my opponent have that I care about? Maybe I care about blocking their red creatures. I don't know if I necessarily do. I don't think Ashiok's particularly good in this matchup. I don't think Narset's particularly good in this matchup. My opponent's not bringing in an Ashiok against me. They're not bringing Shadow of Doubt against me. They're going to try to pillage and destroy my mana base probably because they want to blow up the land that's covered in sprawl. So that is a consideration. That's something I have to worry about. I'm not bringing in any artifacts. Just going to lean on Karn for that. I could see Path to Exiles to hit their actual creature threats. The thing is about Ashiok, though, I think Ashiok is actually better than Narset here, just because Ashiok stopping the fetch lands did do some work. I just don't know if Auriok Champion's better here. Blocks Bloodbraid Elf, doesn't block Tracker. Yeah, I think I'd rather have an Ashiok than a Auriok Champion. And then everything else seems pretty good here. So really deciding in a couple Path to Exiles to deal with their big creature threats. I got 15 minutes of clock to work with. Which, but this match, that game would have been over if my opponent didn't Bloodbraid Elf Cascade into Stomp. Just, that would have been over 10 minutes ago if it wasn't for that. So this is clearly just, I mean, you can just look at this list. This is a Planeswalker control deck at this point. Like, I'm running 9, 10, 11 Planeswalkers in this list right here. It just absolutely built around these minor little effects. Like the Teferi effect with, like the Ashiok effect. One thing that I've really been enjoying is the Ashiok effect with Karn and Liquid Metal Coating. I can really, really destroy my opponent's mana base there. This hand's good. It's a turn 3 win. It's not a turn 3 win through land destruction. I'm going to fetch a basic forest. Okay, it's no longer a turn 3 win. Let's get a forest, pop a sprawl on it, naming white. So my opponent cannot blow this up, so next turn I get to Euro or Druid. And that will be a Druid. Yeah. So Domri's Call plays around Grafdigger's Cage. They got the bolt though, so it doesn't particularly matter here, but still would have been a turn 3 kill there. I can... Unfortunately, I don't have another green source, so I can't like sprawl and still have the 3 mana available. I think I just want to Uro here. Craft Cage does stop Uro from escaping. I need to hit another land drop. I guess a possibly better line would have been to e-call for another Druid and then just... Oh, it's rough. These Cascade hits have been really good for my opponent. Yep, like this game's probably over here. There we go. Magus of the Moon destroys my Utopia Sprawl if they have that. Okay, so they don't. Just play a Ranger Captain and pick up a little dude here. Pick up a Mana Dork. Okay. It's possible I should have named green for Utopia Sprawl, so then I could like Eldamri's Call and do something else. But I liked the idea of being able to cast a 3/3 that can deal with this Bloodbraid Elf. Yeah, I get it. You're not going to be doing too much there. Let's just play the Elf and then hold up Path. I think that's the right line here. I could have Teferi bounced to Bloodbraid Elf, but that wouldn't do a ton. Do I path my own guy, or do I path... I think I have to path my own guy here. I need mana. So put me down to 5. Don't have to worry too much about Bolt. My opponent's already played 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 available mana. I can... Unfortunately, Karn Bridge isn't an answer, but what I can do is something that will just absolutely win me the game if it works, is hope to top deck a land here and Karn Wormcoil. Dead to Bolt, dead to Bloodbraid Elf, dead to Glorybringer, dead to Stomp. Opponent's got 1 card in hand. They've definitely had a bunch of really good sideboard cards for this matchup. Yeah, I'm dead to that too. Okay. I think I have the exact same game plan. Just... I don't have an answer to Cage other than my main board Teferi Time Ravelers, which can bounce Cage and then give me the 1 turn open I need to get there. So that is my answer to Cage. Or just ignoring it. Have the Forest. This is a keep. Okay, we'll go turn 1. Get a Forest, play an Elf. Turn 2, play a Druid and an Oath of Nissa. Turn 3, Finale, and hope to win. Man, that game was quick, huh? That was only 2 minutes of my clock there. Once my opponent destroyed my land, I knew I was in a bit of trouble. I think it was still correct to path my own creature there. It gave me a much smaller window to get out of trouble, but it did open up that line. Like, if my opponent hadn't killed me there, and I was able to top deck a land, play a Worm Coil, I think I just won the game from there. I would need to fade a couple of my opponent's draw steps, but when you're in a bad spot, sometimes you need to take a slight risk like that. Okay, so my opponent immediately leads off with a bolt. They did mull to 6. I think they're mulling aggressively for hate cards here. Alright, and they're getting them. So I can finale for 1, or I can wait a turn. So I think I'm going to Oath, see what I hit. Maybe Oath again. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so that I do have a Karn on the bottom of my deck, so I think I would want to finale for Vizier first, potentially, to increase the rate that Oath can hit a Karn to try to win the game. If Oath hits a Teferi, I'm also pretty safe here, because Teferi bouncing Oath of Nissa is a very real line. So if I do this right, 1, 2, 3, 1, I'll hold up I want to hold up white mana in case I draw Eldamri's Call, so I think I want to do this here. I'm just going to go for it. No cage in play. Okay, there's Teferi. Play Teferi. White. Teferi bounce Oath of Nissa. Replay Oath of Nissa. Pick up Walking Ballista and win the game. Whew. That was a cool match. Hope you guys like it. I'll see you in the next one.